Welcome to the Marriage Steps podcast, where developing a long-lasting, happy relationship is the status symbol to achieve because it's so rare. And following my 6 marriage steps is a path to help get you there. The 6 steps are establishing a covenant foundation, owning your brokenness, learning to share power, developing emotional attachment, cultivating sexual fireworks, and staying in love. I'm your host, Dr. Wyatt Fisher, licensed psychologist and marriage counselor. If you believe in this podcast and would like to help me keep it on the air, please consider becoming a monthly supporter by going to patreon.com/marriage steps. That's patreon.com/marriage steps. Depending on your level of support, it can range from $15 a month up to $50 a month. You will receive a public thank you, a free marriage training module of your choice, or 2 free tickets to my next Total Marriage Refresh seminar, which is coming up February 22nd in Denver, Colorado. If you're interested in registering, be sure to go to my website and click on Marriage Retreats. Today I'm going to do something a bit different. I'm going to respond to questions that have come into me about how to handle certain things in these people's marriage. And I would like to start doing more of this so that I can become a resource for you for questions that you have, struggles that you have, impasses that you're experiencing in your marriage. I would like to become a resource for you so that you can contact me through Messenger on Facebook, or you can email me at info@drwyattfisher.com. So you and your friends and your family can view me as a resource to help you through any struggles and challenges you might be facing in your marriage. So here's the first one. This is Lisa from Texas. By the way, I changed the names to protect the confidentiality of the people messaging me. So if you message me, I'll change your name. So this is Lisa in Texas, and this is what she says. Should I disrupt our routine? I found out my husband bought a gift for his son's mom and did not tell me. And when I ask if they talk about anything else, he says they only talk about the child. The child's mom is someone he has had an affair with before. Should I interrupt my daughter's routine of having dad around and our marriage, although we are on very good terms? Should I consider a separation? So there's a lot to be said about affairs and how to manage affairs. I have other episodes and blog posts on 8 steps to affair recovery. So a few things to talk about when it comes to affairs. One is that an affair is more traumatic than anything you can go through in your marriage. It rocks the foundation of security in your relationship. So for the betrayed spouse, affairs often create PTSD symptoms, which is post-traumatic stress disorder, because you've lost all control. You've lost all power. Similar to someone in combat or someone in a natural disaster, when you lose all sense of power and control, you develop PTSD. And that's what it feels like being on the other side of an affair. For someone who's had the affair or is having an affair, it's very similar to a drug addiction. It lights up the same reward center in the brain, and the person is addicted. It's very hard to wean off of the affair, especially if there's emotional attachment. It's easier to break off an affair that's a one-night stand compared to one that's been developing over months and months and months, because then there's strong emotional attachment. So out of that, there's a couple recommendations. And the first one, this is addressing Lisa in Texas. The first one is when there's been an affair with someone, the first rule of thumb is you stop all contact 100% with that person because you've been addicted to them. And so if you were a heroin addict, you would never go back to the corner where your supplier hangs out, because you know it's a matter of time before you start using heroin again. Or you know if you're a heroin addict, you would never go to your friend's house who's using heroin, because it's a matter of time before you start using heroin again. Likewise with an affair. Once you've had an affair with someone, the risk of you having another one is very high, because those boundaries have already been knocked down. And therefore, the first step in affair recovery is you stop all contact with the person you've had the affair with. So for some people, that means you need to change your jobs. For other people, that means you need to change where you go grocery shopping, or where you where you go to church, if you go to church, or maybe you need to move cities or move states or move friend groups, whatever you need to do to get 100% away from this person so you have no more contact. The no more contact is critical because it helps you wean off the drug addiction. It takes around 6 months from your last contact until you don't desire that person anymore. About 6 months. So it's important for the person who's had the affair to have no more contact so they can wean off of the desire for that person. But it's also important for the betrayed spouse. Because if you're in the betrayed spouse's shoes, any recontact you have with the affair person re-traumatizes the betrayed spouse. So Lisa, first thing I would recommend is that your husband has zero contact with this woman who he's had the affair with, even though it's the mother of the child. So that would mean, Lisa, that you become the point of contact moving forward, that all communication with the child would go through you, so that your husband has no more contact ever in the future with this woman he's had the affair with. Because every time he's reconnecting with her, it's just encouraging that reconnection of an affair. And as you're already feeling, you're feeling suspicious because he bought her a Christmas present or a gift, and you don't know if they're talking about things beyond their son that they have together. It's a high-risk situation. So if I were in your shoes, I would ask him to have no more contact with her, and moving forward, you're the point of reference. The second recommendation, if you haven't already, is to open up all accounts. So all email addresses, all social media accounts, all bank accounts, all credit cards. You need to have eyeballs on all of that. And that's also important for both of you, because if he has any temptation with this woman, he needs accountability to make sure he doesn't go that direction. And for you, if you have eyes on all of his accounts and his phone, it helps to build trust for you to know that he's not having any contact with her. Now, that step and the first step only works if he has a willing heart to want to make his marriage with you work. If he's resistant or defensive or difficult and won't cooperate, most likely he has feelings for the other woman. In contrast, if he's willing to do whatever you ask by having no more contact with her and sharing all accounts, if he has a willing and volunteering heart, that shows you that he's doing all he can to protect you and your marriage. And that's the only way it works, is if that's his heart. So that's what I'd recommend, Lisa, for you moving forward. Okay, the next question is from Sarah in Wyoming, and she says, how can I get my husband to go to church with me and my kids? He says he is a Christian, but only attends church on Christmas. He doesn't do anything spiritually outside of that. I'm not asking him to go every Sunday, but more often would be nice. It's a very touchy subject, and I just want him to have God in his life and be a good Christian leader in our house. So this is a loaded one, Sarah. This is tricky because you can't force someone to believe something. However, if your need is you want him to be more active spiritually for you as a family, that's a valid need that you have. And that would be on your love bucket list. If you've listened to my other episodes, marriage step number 6 is all about developing a love bucket, which is the top 3 things you need to feel loved and satisfied. So for you, Sarah, having your husband be spiritually active might be one of your top needs. And that's a good way to frame it for him, because therefore it doesn't matter what he believes necessarily. It doesn't matter the degree of his faith necessarily. What matters is if he is trying to honor your needs spiritually. So for you, that may mean he goes to church with you guys as a family. That may mean he initiates spiritual activity as a family, whatever that is for you guys, whatever your value system is. So it takes off some of the pressure for him so that he doesn't have to become a master spiritually, or he doesn't have to become necessarily the leader. However, he can become the initiator. He can become the initiator of the spiritual activity, and he can participate and initiate spiritual activities together, including church attendance. So I would frame it as this is one of your top needs to fill your love bucket, and to reverse it because he has top needs that he wants you to fill. So perhaps he desires more sexual intimacy, or perhaps he desires more recreational companionship, whatever it may be. His need for those things is just as valid as your need for him to be the spiritual initiator. And so I would frame it in that way because both needs are equally valid. So there you have it. So I hope those tips help. And again, if any of you listening have marriage questions for me, feel free to message me on Facebook, or you can email me at info@drwyattfisher.com. Thank you for listening to the Marriage Steps podcast. If you enjoyed the episode today, please subscribe, click the 5 stars, and leave a review. For more marriage resources, go to my website, drwyattfisher.com. That's drwyattfisher.com. And follow me at facebook.com/Dr. Wyatt Fisher, or on Instagram at Dr. Wyatt Fisher. Also, if this podcast has made a positive impact on your relationship, I would love to hear from you at info@drwyattfisher.com. And remember, your marriage is alive. If you care for it, it will thrive. And if you don't, it will die. The choice is up to you. Take care.